After a week of uncertainty, relief for the families of 3 Israeli hostages released by Hamas in a ceasefire exchange in Gaza. The hostages, Yair Horn, US-Israeli citizen Sigi Dekel-Chen and Russian-Israeli citizen Alexander Sasha Trufanov, have now been handed over to the Red Cross to begin their journey back to Israel. The exchange happened just after 10 a.m. local time on a stage surrounded by crowds in Khan Younis in Gaza. Both Sigi Dekel-Chen and Alexander Sasha Trufanov were taken from a kibbutz on October 7. All 3 men were held in captivity for 497 days. The exchange proceedings were orderly compared to previous hostage handovers seen in the last couple of weeks. Meanwhile, the first bus carrying freed Palestinian prisoners and detainees has departed Israel's Offa jail on the West Bank. 369 Palestinian prisoners and detainees are set to be released.
It did look extremely precarious earlier in the week, with Hamas saying on Monday that they were not going to continue with their part of the deal, accusing Israel of not allowing in humanitarian supplies into the Gaza Strip. They said that they needed more shelter, more fuel, more medical resources as part of the ceasefire deal. Then we heard these inflammatory comments from Donald Trump saying that all hell would break loose on Saturday by midday unless all the hostages were released. And then Benjamin Netanyahu following up on that, saying that our hostages had to come home. And I think that we've seen pretty intense mediation from Egyptian and Qatari mediators to try and have both sides sit back down together and agree to continue with this phase of the ceasefire deal, phase 1. 6 more Israeli hostages are still in captivity and due to be released as part of phase 1. And we believe that around just over 70 more hostages are still held by Hamas. Half of those thought to be dead, and they are those who are still alive are meant to be released in phase 2, but we haven't even seen the beginnings of negotiations for phase 2 yet, I think because it has been so tentative so far. But what you were seeing when Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, who held Sasha Trufanov, who you're seeing on your screen, when they brought them up onto the stage, they were all made to read out statements, and we do now know what those messages said. They were essentially calling on the Israeli government to do everything that they could to carry on with the deal, and that the prisoners had to be brought home and that time was running out. And to reinforce that point, Hamas had given them an egg timer with a message that time was running out for the remaining hostages who are due to be released as part of this deal, and then in phase 2, most of whom are younger men and some of them IDF soldiers. And as part of Hamas's sort of propaganda and PR efforts around this release, we understand that the white vehicle that they were transporting these 3 men in was one that they had captured when they attacked on October the 7th, and that some of the weaponry that they have, some of the guns, the AKs that they are wielding, were also captured from the IDF in that terror attack on October the 7th. And of course, Benjamin Netanyahu has said, under pressure really from the far right, that this war will not end until Hamas are gone from the Gaza Strip. And I think what you are seeing here is very, very clear symbolism from Hamas that they do not intend to go anywhere. And in fact, they have also released a statement as part of this exchange, responding really to what we have heard from Trump in recent weeks, that he wanted all Palestinians out of the Gaza Strip so that he could develop it into a Riviera of the Middle East. Hamas has responded saying, "We declare to the entire world there is no migration except to Jerusalem. This is our response to all the calls for displacement and elimination made by Trump and those who support his colonial and occupation-driven agenda." So we shall have to see if the remaining 6 hostages supposed to be released as part of this deal do in fact get released in the coming weeks. This was phase 1, was meant to be 6 weeks. We have seen 6 hostage exchanges so far, but in the more immediate term we are going to be seeing 369 Palestinian prisoners released today, most of them back into the Gaza Strip, most of them arrested by Israel after October the 7th, but 36 who have been imprisoned for life sentences for terror attacks in Israel, most of them in the early years of the Second Intifada. They are also going to be released and deported first to Egypt and then to other countries that will have them.